everyone, and welcome. And when I say everyone, I think Anne. What is happening with YouTube? Hi, everyone. I'm your host for Stop the InHannity. My name is Kevin Williams. I am your KevinlyFather, and it says that I'm not broadcasting, but I am broadcasting. So if you're here, say hi. I think it's just me and Anne. Just Anne and I. Hold on, let me go back to the link that I actually posted earlier and see if that is something. No, we're going through, but YouTube is saying that we're not. So, onward and upward. Man, is it hot in here. What is happening, people? Anne is here, Marcy's here, David is here. Congratulations, David, on being first. Always good to see, along with Anne. So, we're going to watch just a little bit of Hannity today. Rick Santorum was let go at CNN, primarily because he said that there was no culture here before the white folk came. Of course, we happen to know, since I'm in a family with two of them, the Native Americans have been around for quite a while. Okay, and Sean is here, Phyllis is here, okay. And hey, Queen, nice to see you. Hi, Rama. Okay, so it looks like we actually have people here. YouTube is once again lying to me, and I'm not really sure what is going on, but I'm starting to sweat. I came in here, I sat down, and it's about 140 degrees in here, so I'm going to open the window. I'm going to start, what we'll do is we'll look for Hannity. We'll look for his interview with Rick Santorum. I don't know if it's happened yet or not, but let's just start by watching a little bit of Hannity, and we'll follow along, and we'll critique as we go here until we can find Rick Santorum, and then we'll wrap things up.
Paucity, smugness, and groupthink. Our new documentary series, Tucker Carlson Originals, also on Fox Nation. Have a great evening. Sean Hannity, right now.
I now know what I'm going to get you for Christmas. A chicken you can pet and kiss. Perfect. Whatever you need, Tucker.
Thank you,
that
Sean.
makes you happy. I will buy you a chicken,
I
a
don't
pet
know
chicken.
what they said.
Oh, all right, Tucker, thank you.
Buy you a chicken.
Anyway,
By the way, folks, if you haven't seen on Prime, if you have yourself some Prime or some Pluto TV, which is free, watch a little bit of Chicken People. It is Best in Show, the joke movie, the mockumentary about the Westminster Dog Show. It's Best in Show, but it's real. And it's about chicken people. So check out Chicken People on Pluto TV or Prime if you have it, if you don't want to sit through the ads. But it is free on Pluto TV.
welcome to Hannity.
It's Pluto.tv. It's that simple. A bunch of movies on Pluto.tv. Go to On Demand and you'll find Chicken People in there. Theoretically, I watch it on Prime.
Busy night tonight. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is here. Texas Senator Ted Cruz will join us. Rick, all things Joey Biden and Sippy Cup. Anyway, this case.
So this is just something I noticed today.
From Project Ver.
For some reason, Hannity has started calling Joe Biden Sippy Cup Joe Biden. Does anybody know why? Something about him being sleepy and having a sippy cup before he goes to bed. Is that a thing? Does anybody have a sippy cup before they go to bed? That's a baby thing. Do old people have sippy cups? My mother never had a sippy cup when she was going through her end of life. I don't know what. Sippy cup, Joe Biden. Hannity earlier today posted a picture of a sippy cup with President of the United States. Sleepy Joe wasn't catching, I guess. Now it's Sippy Cup Sleepy Joe. They need to have a sippy cup for some. Just like he calls Jen Psaki, the press secretary, he calls her circle back Jen Psaki, because what she says when she doesn't have the information at hand, she says, I'll have to circle back with you. And reporters have reported on her actually circling back with them and getting them that information. The current press office seems to be very good at that, whereas the previous press office would often refuse to give that information after saying publicly that they would. So he calls her circle back Jen Psaki, which is like calling, oh, sure, Mr. Fix My Car Mechanic. Right, that's what... Hey, Robert.
Veritas, it involves Facebook's rampant political bias, and Facebook is responding to O'Keefe. We'll get to all of this. But first, we turn once again to the ever weak, frail, cognitive mess that is all things Joey Biden. And
if Biden was a cognitive mess, I would say so. I would be extremely worried. He is not. But I'm sure he's about to play some samples here of how Joe Biden is degrading. We'll find out. And all of them will be nonsense.
Sippy cup. Anyway, as cases of COVID-19 have sharply declined, thankfully, Americans, they're trying to make up for lost time, becoming more active than ever. By the way, don't hold your breath. They'll never give President Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed.
Okay, Joe Biden gave Trump credit specifically for Operation Warp Speed. You know what? We're just going to pull that up because I'm sick of this Operation Crap Speed that he's spewing out. Joe Biden said, I just wrote rap instead of warp. We're going to pull this up. We have this handy here. I know it's here. Here it is. This is Joe Biden specifically giving Trump and his administration credit for Operation Crap Speed, Warp Speed.
I think that the administration deserves some credit getting this off the ground of Operation Warp Speed. I think
there it is. There it is. What else do you want? This is the this is Biden giving Trump the administration, because this is when Biden got his shot. By the way, this is just minutes right after Biden got his vaccine. You can see him sitting there. There's a nurse there. She had just given him a shot, and he said, hey, I think we ought to give this guy some credit for getting this off the ground with Operation Warp Speed. It's just complete nonsense. It's an absolute 100% fabrication, and it's a lie. But this is what he does constantly. Constantly. And I know he's
By the way, don't hold your...
I don't know that he's seen it. But here's what happens. I will post that clip on Republicans. I will post that on Hannity's site, and it'll get 1,000 likes. Maybe nobody in the Hannity's universe monitors what goes on in their Twitter feed. Completely possible. And the response from the right wing is the wingnuts are always like, oh, he didn't mean it. He didn't even know what he was talking about.
Your breath. They'll never give President Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed.
Specifically, he did.
No, power-hungry Democrats, the corrupt media mob, they're not capable of it. Don't hold your breath.
Okay, but Biden did. And he's the most powerful of the Democrats.
And me.
I'm not holding my breath. Yeah, look, there's a sippy cup, and it says night-night.
Meanwhile, well, Sippy Cup Joe is not very active. Very few public events, an extremely early bedtime, constant weekend trips to Delaware, we assume sleeping.
Not very active. Constant trips to Delaware. Same paragraph. Not very active. Constant trips. Not very active.
And Joe seems unwilling and unable and incapable of rising to the occasion.
What occasion? Oh, no. Oh, we've got a border crisis. Look at all these kids. They're crammed into these tents. Fixed. Oh my God. There's gas lines. Fixed. Oh, no. Israel's at war with Palestine, which is always happening. Fixed. No, it's not. It's a ceasefire. The Biden administration made over 80 calls, including President Biden talking to Bibi Netanyahu. But it's a crisis. So now this is the crisis. Sippy cups. It's all they got is sippy cups.
This is getting to be a real, clear, obvious danger.
Okay, if it was a clear, obvious danger, I would say so. I would be happy to say so. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I'll call it balls and strikes.
And now we have, with the pandemic waning, Joe's running out of excuses. The media mob trying to put a spin on Biden's obvious struggles.
Running out of excuses for what?
Americans, we can see with our own eyes what's happening. Remember, fake news CNN, they first described Sippy Cup as an early-to-bed type who enjoys a warm fire in the Oval Office fireplace. Then last week, the New York...
Yeah. Okay, the president is early to bed, early to rise. Makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Toilet.
What great American would ever say that? Communist. You know who said that? Stalin.
Paper Times reporting that Biden is prone to outbursts. He's very moody, gets very confused by acronyms, and needs extensive preparation for any...
What? A short obsession with detail. An obsession with details. Oh my God, a president who wants to know facts. I can understand why this is so concerning and frightening to Sean Hannity, whose ratings have plummeted to half of what they were when Trump was president. He's behind Tucker now in the ratings. Hannity is behind Tucker.
Event. And then today, the Washington Post, even they admitted, quote, Biden's public schedule can seem notably light compared to his predecessors. And then, quote, a lid, meaning no public activities. That's often called very early in the day.
Yeah.
As a very...
And remember, your guy lost the election and then just never did anything after that. Day after day after day of no public events scheduled. Whereas Biden does at least one every day. Not the weekends.
Very light workload. We should all be so lucky.
Okay, multiple calls to Bibi Netanyahu trying to get a ceasefire, but sure, light workload.
And the Post revealing that Biden heads to his private residence around 6 or 7 to begin his bedtime routine, which I assume involves warm cookies, warm milky, and this.
Well, you're assuming probably, maybe. Who cares? Oh my God, the president drinks milk. You're talking about, your guy ate nothing but KFC.
Sippy cup, and maybe if he's good, a night-night story.
Christopher Ryan says, remember the failed coup? Good times.
And of course, the Washington Post attempted to whitewash all of this by highlighting Biden's alleged weightlifting routine.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at this. Joe pumping iron. All right, you go, Joe. Good Joe.
That's obviously staged. But, I mean, Biden is renowned for staying in shape.
Very good job, Joey. Anyway.
I mean, I'm sorry, but just look at Trump and then look at Biden and tell me who's more physically active.
The only problem is that video, that's from 6 years ago in 2015.
Right.
And tonight, it's extremely...
Well, you expect them to videotape him every time he lifts weights? Is that... Looks like a real weight, too. I was just at Play It Again Sports. That looks like an actual brand.
Doubtful that Joe is capable of such a routine. Remember, we were the ones that told you, we were told by everybody that the wind blew him over 3 times. It was very windy days. He was climbing the stairs to Air Force One.
No, he lost his footing. The wind is stupid. Again, they're all surrounded by idiots who can't, well, not necessarily idiots, but people who cannot let dear leader look bad. And they make mistakes. This is all politicians. This is what press people do. Not press people. Public relations people do.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The wind blew him over. Very windy day.
No, they never
According to
said
Press
that.
Secretary Jen Circleback Psaki.
Oh, yeah. Do your job, Psaki. Yeah. Sorry, I should say does her job, Psaki. Hi, Chuck.
Well, has so much energy and vigor, she claims she can barely keep up with Joe. Wow. Take a look.
Yeah, he's like an exercise fanatic from what I can tell. But, okay. All right, but how is this dangerous? How is any of this dangerous?
Look.
What more can you tell us about the president?
This is what they've got. Joe Biden doesn't exercise enough. This is what they've got. Compared to
President's health regime, we hear he's...
Oh, yeah, and he had a broken foot. Correct, Ann.
Lifting weights. What sort of weights is he lifting? Does he have a personal trainer? And what happened to his Peloton bike? Did he bring it to the White House?
I didn't know where this was going, but I'm intrigued by it. I will say I have nothing to read out on the president's private exercise regime.
How could she not know?
But I can tell you, having traveled with him a fair amount, sometimes he's hard to keep up with.
Really, Jen?
Okay. He's a guy who likes to exercise. And some people are not that keen on exercise. I get that. And that's what you say about a 8-year-old guy. I mean, for 4 years, we heard that nobody could keep up with President Trump. Nobody slept as little as President Trump. He's a whirlwind. He'll do sometimes 6, 7, 8 rallies in a day. And Joe Biden won't come out of his basement. He never did more than 5 rallies in a day. He did that one time.
And that might be the biggest lie from the White House ever.
No, it is not.
You must be in serious decline because Jen.
Oh, he must be in serious decline because what? Why? Why exactly? This is it. This is why he's dangerous. Sean, take it.
No American would have a tough time keeping up with Joe's schedule. Clearly.
Moving on.
What we see today is not the same Joe Biden of 2008, 2012.
No, it's the same guy. He's just older.
Even 2016.
Well, no, it's not the same Joe Biden as 2020, if you want to talk about it that way. He's older. You are too. Me too. We're all getting older. Every one of us, Sean.
But you know what?
What?
Don't take my word for it.
I never
As our
do.
old friend, the great sportscaster Warner Wolf would always say,
Okay.
Let's go to the videotape. You decide.
Okay, I'll decide.
In our bilateral relationships with nations with whom we deal and have serious trade deficits,
Yeah.
we have to be willing to put more cards on the table.
Now they got a new plan. Trust me.
Well, that settles it. There's more. Hold on. Now this is 2012.
It's not going to
This is presidential debate, vice presidential debate with Paul Ryan.
cost you any more. Folks, follow your instincts on this one. They put
Okay.
one foot
This Joe Biden has a sentence?
in front of the other.
Yeah.
They keep going.
Yeah.
That's the unbreakable spirit of the people of America. We hold.
Yeah, that's the Democratic National Convention 2016. Here's March 2nd, 2020.
These truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Yeah, all men and women created, slip of the tongue, but he's like, you know what, I'm not going to go over the Declaration of Independence. I'm not going to read you the complete preamble. Here, let's move on. This is off script, by the way. He was not reading from the teleprompter when he did that. But obviously he knows it. He said it.
I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there.
Yeah, so he was referring to the Pentagon. He was referring to the brand new Secretary of Defense, Secretary Austin, who he's known as a general for the last 30 years. I don't know how. I mean, Austin was retired as a general, so I don't know how long he was a general. But obviously nominating him for Secretary of Defense, Biden has known him for a long time. And when that happens, when someone changes their title like that, you often call them by their own title. Hey, General, really? I mean, I'm sorry, Secretary, Mr. Secretary, congratulations. That's fine. That's all he was saying. He didn't forget Secretary Austin's name. In fact, earlier in the same speech, he said Secretary Austin's name. He knows Secretary Austin's name. So he was being folksy there. He didn't forget the name of the Pentagon. He knows what the Pentagon is. But yes, he almost called him, you know what? No, I don't think he actually calls him general. Let's go back and just watch the beginning of that because I almost called him. So he says something like that. Let's find out.
Is it
I think he's
general? I keep calling him general, but
I think he catches himself right as he's doing
I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general.
Yeah, doesn't call him because I want to thank the former general. He's not general. Yeah, technically he still is he's a retired general. Now he's secretary. You refer to somebody as their highest title. So he's now President Biden. He was Vice President Biden, but president, higher than president, we call him President Biden. We don't call him Senator Biden anymore. We call him Sippy Cup Biden, which apparently is the highest level. We have no royalty.
The guy who runs that outfit over there. Visit vaccines.gov.
Oh, he said .gum. He's had a slip of the tongue. The guy who grew up with a stutter and corrected it by reading Irish poets. He said, then he corrected himself immediately. And then he goes right back to gum.
Vaccines.gov or text to.
And we by the way, we never know when we're watching this what's going on with the teleprompter. Because teleprompter guy might have gone like .gov. He said, oh, wait, let me go back. And now he's like, wait, and you can tell when someone's leaning forward as they're reading a teleprompter, it's usually because, and I do it too. I have a teleprompter right over there. I'm reading from a teleprompter right now. And the guy who runs the teleprompter is probably the smartest individual on the planet. I have no idea what I'm reading when I read it. But you lean forward a little bit because you're like, wait, what was that? So he caught himself. It doesn't mean the president is not dangerous because he called a website vaccines.gum. The president of China is not sitting over there going, now is the time to bomb. He said .gum. I don't even think that she speaks English, so.
Visit vaccines.gov, vaccines.gov, or text your zip code to 438829.
And that is correct. That is the correct number to text your zip code to. And again, we don't know what he's reading from the teleprompter and where the teleprompter is, because operators will go back, teleprompter operators.
Yeah, Putin, President Xi, Kim Jong-un, the mullahs in Iran, they see what you see.
They're watching this. I just made fun of the concept of President Xi watching this and saying, oh yeah, let's bomb the place because he said .gum. And then this is where Hannity goes with this. Folks, you literally can make this shit up because I do, and then he does it in real life. This is what they've got. There's no more gas lines. The border's doing just fine. It's not. There's problems with it. But what I'm saying is the crisis at the border of the kids being crammed into cages, tents, the kids are being spread out now. They're being flown throughout the country. They're being handled. They're being taken care of. They're being reunited with family members. They're going into foster care. They're being taken by Health and Human Services as opposed to Customs and Border Patrol. Good. Progress is being made. But .gum,
not good. Joe now has...
Ann says, I've run a teleprompter in Chiron for an ABC affiliate, so you are so true. I am so true. Thank you. Kimchi says, except for those perfect Thailand criminals, I can't even say it, criminals in the United States. Okay. I had to read. I only read half of that, and then I got through. This is like a teleprompter for me. On the left of my screen, I see your guys' chat, and I kind of read it as I go. Hi, LP. Good to see you. Thank you, Kimchi. Very well done. That was 3 references in one, and I think I read it with a lot of vigor.
Trouble remembering names and dates.
No, there was no problem. What dates? Did I miss that? Did he misremember a date in there? But again, same speech. I can find it. I could just trust me, guys. That was a speech about Joe Biden was nominating 2 females for high positions in the military, and he was thanking the former general, who I keep calling general because he's been a general to me. He was thanking the secretary for nominating to Joe Biden. For referring the 2 females to Joe Biden. There's a lack of leadership in terms of, that's not the right way to say that. There's a lack of females in leadership positions in the United States military. Of course, it's been an old boys club for 200 and some years. So Secretary Austin, former general, referred 2 females to Joe Biden, who he then nominated for upper level positions in the military. That's what that was all about. But that's all they've got on Biden. He almost called the guy who was a general. That's what he almost did. But he didn't. He corrected himself before he said it and said former general. It's InHannity.
He struggles with complex details. He often loses.
No, that's not what the article said. You just posted the article, and it said that he is feverish about the details. It didn't say feverish, but you know what I'm saying. He doesn't struggle with the complex details. He wants to know the details.
Loses his train of thought mid-sentence, quickly now becoming irritable, and at times it appears that Sippy Cup is having trouble even walking.
Oh, now we're just calling him Sippy Cup. Just no Sippy Cup Joe, Sippy Cup Sleepy Joe, just Sippy Cup.
And listen to...
Has difficulty walking. Maybe because he tripped on the stairs, as everyone does, as Trump did.
This from the Washington Post, quote, Senator Chris Coons, longtime Biden confidant, said that Biden in meetings just crosses his arms, puts his chin in his hand, and then just listens.
Sean, why are you endorsing Joe Biden? Yes, he's a president who puts his chin in his hands, crosses his arms, puts his chin in his hands, perhaps in his one hand, and then listens. Okay. You know, presidenting. God forbid the president listen to anybody.
I don't know exactly who is steering the ship, but
Joe Biden.
It's not that guy.
Because he listens? This is just pathetic.
And it's obviously not going well, and they're trying to hide it from the rest of the world, but we can see through it. Look at the country in just a few short months.
Okay.
Inflation, 4.2%.
Coming out of a COVID-induced recession, 4.2% is a lot lower than you would think it would be. Why? Because supply chains have been interrupted, not to mention the residuals from the tariffs that your guy put into place on things like lumber and steel and household goods. All of these things that Trump did that caused, by the way, before COVID, the Trump tariffs caused U.S. manufacturing to go into contraction. Manufacturing under Trump was shrinking in January before COVID. Shrinking.
The highest in 13 years. Steel, that's up a
I said that.
whopping 30%.
Right. Of course steel is more expensive. There's a bunch of tariffs on it, and the supply chain was interrupted.
Copper, 32%.
I don't think I said copper. Same thing.
Lumber, great. You want to buy
I said lumber.
2x4, you're paying now 130% more than you were last year. Poultry, beef, consumption of any food that you buy at any grocery store.
I just went shopping today and everything was exactly the same price. My tomatoes were 99 cents a pound. My salad was $2.99. What else did I get? My green onions were cheaper. Green onions are only 59 cents for whatever a green onion shaft is called. Is there a name for that, guys? There must be a name for that. Peppers were the same price, but I usually get 6 peppers. There were only 4 peppers in there. But they were huge. And they were green and yellow. No, they were red and yellow. And I was like, where are my orange peppers? That tastes just like the other ones. But I'm like, I'm 4 peppers. I'm not paying $3.99 for 4 peppers. That's $1 a piece. They were huge. Like head-sized Anyway. So yeah, my groceries aren't costing more. But I understand household goods. David Mickelson just got 18 eggs for 97 cents. That comes out to not a lot. I just got 6 pizzas for $1. Granted, this was at Grocery Outlet where groceries go to die. But I mean, do you guys want to see what kind of pizza I'm talking about? For 6 of them for $1. They're far away. I can't get them right now. They're not next to the Outhouse Studios. But anyway, you know, like they're about this size, like McDonald's apple pies used to be, is bigger than your head, but like that, 6 for $1. But anyway, yes, groceries are getting more expensive. Sure, that's what happens in inflation. Inflation theoretically should calm down, but we are due for a lot of economic changes over the next little while. It'll be interesting to see, and I haven't seen anybody talking about this. What are they going to do with evictions? That ends at the end of July, and the federal government's going to be like, are they going to renew? You can't evict people? Or are there going to be 9 million people suddenly being evicted? Probably, no, more than that, because it's 8.8 million households. So household includes more than one person typically. Totino's, no, they weren't Totino's pizza. By the way, those are like $1 a piece. They're not a big deal, I think. But I did get those little pizza rolls at Grocery Outlet. Normally $12.99. I got a bag of them for 97 cents. So take that, healthy egg, David Mickelson.
Any drugstore, you are paying more.
Rents are going up. The housing is outrageous. What happened in March is that the new housing market, the entire housing market actually dipped somewhat because the prices were getting so high. And then in April, it went way down because people are like, I'm not buying a house right now. This is insane. The prices right now, I'm assuming this is happening in your part of the country as well, or probably in your part of the world. I know in Canada right now, the same thing's happening with the housing market. There's a shortage.
For everything. Oil and gas on the way up. That means everything that's...
What I'm worried about, and this is something that truly concerns me, is the commercial real estate market. Because companies have now realized, you know what? We went a whole year with the HR department working from home, and it was okay. We don't need to rent that trailer for the whole... We need people here on the factory floor, but we don't need these people to be here. We can save that AC and that heat and that office space. They can work from home. £2 for 10 eggs here. That's too expensive. And I didn't realize that sheep ate eggs. Ann said something nice. David Mickelson has chickens now. Congratulations. David, you have to watch Chicken People. So why does it concern me with the commercial real estate market? Because it's connected to everything. The commercial real estate market in the United States is huge. It is at least $1 million of the economy. Possibly more. But yeah, if that collapses, what happens in our economy? Because a lot of it is a faith-based economy. We believe something is worth this much, so it's worth this much. Take a look at Bitcoin. It's not actually a thing. But it's now selling for $35,000 per Bitcoin. It was at $50,000, but I bought one. Not one. I didn't buy a whole one. I bought some of it, and so now it's plummeting. That's why.
Truck to every...
Anyway, the economy can collapse upon itself, just like it did with derivatives in 2007, 2008, because of the housing market, too many subprime mortgages. It's a very complicated thing. It's something that Sippy Cup Sean Hannity wouldn't understand.
Every location where you shop, guess what? They're passing that on to you. Corporations, they don't pay taxes. You will pay the...
Corporations pay taxes. Some of them do. But yeah, thank you, Sean Hannity, for pointing out one of the flaws in the capitalist system. Your guy cut corporate taxes. Like, just decimated them. And our guy, Joe Biden, would like to put some of that back. Your guy gave the corporations billions of dollars in tax-free revenue, bringing it back into the country. And do you know what they did? They didn't create more jobs. They bought stocks. They bought their own stocks. They did something called stock buyback, which we all said was going to happen because we understand how supply and demand works. You don't just create jobs. You don't just say, I'm just going to hire 1,000 new people unless there's demand for the 1,000 new people. You don't say, you know what, I'm going to open up a factory and we're going to make widgets when nobody wants widgets. You just don't. What you do is you take that money and you do with it what's going to make you the richest. That's your fiduciary responsibility. See if I have that clip of... Yeah, I do. I've got it on here. I think I'm on the right machine. Yeah, this is President Trump. This is what everybody with some economic sense said would happen. Everybody without money said, okay, the companies are just going to buy back a bunch of their stock with that money, and that's going to do well for the CEOs because a lot of their benefits, etc., are tagged on the stocks. Why wouldn't they? And their shareholders are going to be delighted because that's going to drive the stock up, and that's going to help them with their dividends, etc. I don't know if widgets are... Yeah, widgets are actually a thing, I believe. I don't know. That's an excellent question, Marcy.
I never liked stock buybacks from their standpoint. When we did a big tax cut, and when they took the money and did buybacks, that's not building a hangar, that's not buying aircraft, that's not doing the kind of things that I want them to do.
Yeah, that's not making widgets in an aircraft hangar. One moment. He's absolutely right. I hate to admit this, but Trump is right.
And we're now talking about buybacks.
Yeah.
We didn't think we would have had to restrict it because...
No, we all thought that. And the people who were for it knew that would happen. And the people who knew that would happen and encouraged it have a lot of stocks.
Because we thought they would have known better.
No, really? They just should. Why would they? They should have known better not to do what was best for their business. As legally they have to. As corporate board members.
There were some companies that used that money to buy back stock.
Right.
Driving up the price of the stock artificially in many cases. I don't like that. I don't like it.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't have passed your tax cut.
The new taxes there, too. Everything we now buy, everything you buy is more expensive. Look at Forbes, 83%.
I don't know. The cost of the Chevy Bolt just came down $7,000.
Of Americans now...
Maybe more. I don't know. Anyway, if you're looking for an electric car, check out the Bolt. It's an incredible vehicle.
Tightening their belts because...
And the price just dropped. Although if you do get it, you do want to get the supercharging. Trust me.
Because of Joe's inflation. Also...
Joe's inflation.
A crisis in America's major cities.
All right, let's, that was enough about Joe there. Let's go ahead and see if we can find Rick Santorum, who was fired from CNN. Oh, God, is Ted Cruz on here, too? It's just a cavalcade of idiocy. Yeah, Lindsay's on here as well. And he's just going to say Trump. Okay, oh, Flip-Flop Fauci. Hold on.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Be quiet.
On your screen, and we're going to continue to follow the story as new details emerge. We've said this many times. Got to protect our institutions and our politicians. It's not about politics because they represent us.
Where was he on January 6th?
All right, first now, an explosive story from the Wall Street Journal citing a U.S. intelligence report that 3 researchers at the Wuhan lab, you know, when we talked about
3 of them
about a year ago, were in fact hospitalized in November of 2019, adding to what is now a growing body of evidence supporting the lab leak theory of the coronavirus origin.
Except that we don't know that they had COVID. Yes, so there's a possibility. A very small possibility. But yes, it could have come out of the lab. Could have. And the Chinese government lies about everything. So yeah, it's a possibility. It also could have come out of bat.
Well, just like clockwork, Dr. Doom and Gloom, Dr. Flip and Flop, Dr. Fauci changed his tune yet again.
No, from the very beginning, Dr. Fauci said, oh, no, it's unlikely, but it's possible. He didn't completely rule it out. He said there's just nothing there that says what we see from the makeup, the RNA makeup of the virus, the genetic path, is that this is completely consistent of coming out of the animal world and adapting to human species. Completely consistent. But some lab technicians got sick during flu season.
And now he's saying...
Here's why I still am on the side. We don't know. We do not know where the coronavirus, this COVID-19, we don't know where it came from. I am still on the side of probably animal related. And here's why. If in fact people from the lab were admitted to a hospital in Wuhan in mid-November, this thing would have shot up immediately. So that by the end of December, it would have already become a pandemic. That's how the coronavirus spreads. It's very, very quick. They were admitted to a hospital before the hospital had any idea that this was a respiratory-borne illness.
He's not convinced,
I should say airborne,
that the virus had natural origins. Let's compare that to what he was saying last year to what he's saying now. Take a look.
It's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated.
So yeah, okay, that's still the evidence holds that is actually the case. Very, very strongly, it couldn't have been. But he doesn't say that it couldn't have been. He says he's leaning that direction. The evidence is leaning that direction. It still is.
I wanted to ask, are you still confident that it developed naturally?
No, I'm not convinced about that. I think that we should continue to investigate what went on in China.
Yes, why not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you continue to investigate? Because we don't know. We didn't know then. He said the evidence is very strongly pointing to where it couldn't have, but he didn't say it didn't.
Now, speaking...
And yes, it should be investigated. He wants it investigated. That's his job. So of course he wants it investigated. Go ahead. Or maybe not. Maybe we're done. Hold on. Here's Ted Cruz, and it doesn't want to do it.
Was called out in Iraq, and what makes him the original, floating in front of his hotel that was...
Apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft.
Here with reaction, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. But my favorite, though...
Why are we talking about Brian Williams right now?
Was when he talked about all the dead bodies from Katrina floating in front of his hotel that wasn't flooded. So I guess we could take his words for what they're worth. Right, Senator?
Well, look, the corporate media, they're liars. That's what they do for a difference. Remember Hillary Clinton had...
I mean, we just watched Hannity lying. So, yeah.
A similar story.
Corporate media? Like Fox isn't a corporation?
Where she talked about going from a helicopter under machine gun fire, except for the fact that...
No. She talked about going from an airplane, Ted. You're lying. It was Bosnia. She said she was under sniper rifle fire, not machine gun fire. Jesus Christ. This is a layup. This is the worst thing Hillary has ever done. And you can't fucking get it right, Ted? Wow. Pathetic. Here is a bowl of ice cream. Ah! Ah!
That there wasn't machine gun fire when she was going from the helicopter.
No, there wasn't machine gun fire and there wasn't a helicopter. None of that happened. She never said any of that happened. She lied, but it wasn't a... Like, why can't you remember this? You remember every single line from The Princess Bride, but you can't get this right.
Helicopter, and they get away with it. I will say, you talk...
Do they, though?
About Brian Williams as the original purveyor of fake news. I got to stand up and defend the lack of integrity of Dan Rather. I mean, Dan Rather was fired for lying on air long before Brian Williams was lying on air, and they worked together at CBS, so they may have learned how to peddle falsehoods together.
You know, it is interesting. I thought you had a great line this weekend when you called the Squad as the press secretaries for Hamas. That is not hyperbole, Senator. That is, we now have virulent anti-Semitism and open support for a terrorist organization firing rockets in the thousands at our closest ally in the Middle East, and they're taking the side of the terrorists whose charter calls for the destruction of Israel. That's a fact. And
I actually haven't seen them supporting Hamas directly. And that's not to say that they certainly have been supporting the Palestinian people. There's no doubt about that. Like, hey, let's stop killing the Palestinian people. I can get behind that. Let's also stop killing the Israelis. I can also get behind that. Has anyone seen one of them actually endorsing Hamas?
Not a word from Joe, not a word from Chuck, not a word from Nancy. Why?
Sean, you're exactly right. One of the consequences of the...
And I've been watching Fox News. You would think I would see that over and over and over again. You would think that they would be showing that rather than just saying, they said this, that's a fact. You're showing coverage of Joe Biden from 2008. Tell me there's video of Ilhan Omar or somebody, the Squad.
The age of Trump, as Donald Trump went...
Thank you, Jessica.
Directly at the media, directly at the Democrats.
Now, have they said racist things before? Anti-Semitic things before? Yeah, a couple of them have. Absolutely. And I'll call them out on that. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine that they said that.
And it broke them. They are husks of themselves.
I'm just gonna put my head in my hand, my chin in my hand. I'm just going to listen.
So the corporate media, they've always been lying, but they now just are partisan, fuming piles of garbage. You look at the Democrats. Listen, there have been wars in the Middle East before. In the past, you would have disagreements between Republicans and Democrats, but Democrats would generally condemn the terrorism, generally give statements in favor of Israel. Now you have these radical anti-Semites in the Democratic Party, the angry anti-Israel left, that are standing up. Representative Omar is accusing Israel of committing acts of terrorism. AOC and Bernie Sanders are introducing resolutions to ban.
Well, I mean, they're bombing apartment buildings. That's something that terrorists do.
And to cancel arms sales to Israel so it can't defend itself from terrorists. And I'll tell you this week, Sean, I'm introducing a resolution to approve the arms sale to Israel so that we can fund Israel's defending itself against Hamas.
Okay, but resolutions don't do anything. Why aren't you introducing a bill, Senator Cruz, like you can?
Terrorists, and there are a whole lot of Senate Democrats, they don't want to vote on my resolution because they don't.
No, because first off, they don't have to. Because they won the Senate. Because you followed Trump.
Don't want to have it apparent to the crazy left activist who they're terrified of where they stand. Do they stand with Israel or do they stand with Hamas?
All right, I can't anymore, not with him. Let's go see if they're probably just going to do a quick segment with Santorum, and then we'll be done because it's 400 degrees in here. Okay, here we go.
XM, America is listening.
I really hope they play the clip from Santorum, but they probably won't. They'll probably just put it up. When someone says something that's like, whoa, that is offensive, what they'll do on the Fox a lot is they will just put up the words and then read it in the tone that they want to read it. So it doesn't sound as bad. But I hope they actually play the clip because you should see it if you haven't seen Rick Santorum talking about how there was no culture here. Sorry, in North America before the white people got here, that there was no culture.
Now, former Republican Senator Rick Santorum, well, he just recently departed fake news CNN after remarks he made at a Young America's Foundation event about Native Americans, the founding of the country, where he said, quote, "We birthed a nation from nothing."
They're going to read it. Show it. Show it, Hannity, because it's offensive.
Yes, there were Native Americans, but there isn't much Native American culture in American culture. Now, despite...
We should find the clip. Hold on. We'll find the clip, because you guys should see this if you haven't seen this already. Let's see. Okay, so Rick Santorum, and Native. And, okay... Rick Santorum, this is 2 days ago. After following remarks, hold on, I can find it. April remarks about Native Americans. And here it is. Here he is. Let me bring it over to you guys. 1 second, please. Here we go.
If you think about this country, I don't know of any other country in the world that was settled predominantly by people who were coming.
Settled. By the way, also Canada, also everybody in South America.
To practice their faith. They came here because they were not allowed to practice their particular faith in their own country. And so they came here mostly from Europe, and they set up a country that was based on Judeo-Christian principles. When I say Judeo-Christian, the Mosaic Laws, 10 Commandments, and the teachings of Jesus Christ, the morals and teachings of Jesus Christ. That's what our founding documents are based upon. It's in our DNA. You know, if you think of other countries like Italy and Greece and China and Turkey and places like that,
okay,
they've all sort of changed over time. I mean, they've been there for millennia in many cases.
For decades, centuries.
And their culture has sort of evolved over time.
Yeah.
But not us.
No?
We came here and created...
Our culture hasn't evolved since we got here.
A blank slate. We birthed a nation.
Yeah, we used to burn witches too. We used to have slavery, and we still do because our culture hasn't evolved over time.
From nothing. I mean, there's nothing here. I mean, yes, we have Native Americans, but candidly, that there isn't much Native American culture in American culture.
Wow.
It was born of the people who came here pursuing religious.
There isn't much Native American culture in American culture. Oh, yeah. The Native Americans were here. I mean, and they had their bow and arrows. They didn't.
Santorum admitting multiple times that he misspoke and trying to clarify his remarks.
Okay, so he did misspeak. He's admitted that multiple times.
On fake news CNN, and what he was specifically talking about, that's not enough for the left-wing outrage machine and the woke cancel culture social warriors that pressured fake news CNN to cave to the mob and cut ties with, like, the one guy that had a different point of view, Rick Santorum. But here's a question I have for fake news CNN.
Yeah.
Have you made a decision yet about Jeffrey Toobin's future? The guy caught on the Zoom call, let's say enjoying himself a little too much.
Yeah.
I can mention a few other people.
I thought he was already canned, but I guess he's on a 6 months probation. Okay. It rhymes with probation.
People that are still working there too. Here to respond, Senator Rick Santorum. Senator, how are you? It's great to have you back.
Senator, how are you? It's blah 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 blah. Just let him answer the question, Sean.
With you.
All right.
Thank
you made these comments.
Good to be with you.
You say in an interview numerous times that you misspoke, and you explain what you meant. Why the firing?
Okay, tell us what he meant.
Well, I think you pointed to some of it. I mean that there's been a lot of pressure from outside. There's been an effort. I was at
Americans.
CNN for 4.5 years. And, literally from the time I started, there were groups out there calling for me to be fired. And
right.
So in some respects, I give CNN credit for holding on 4.5 years in spite of some of the things I said, defending President Trump and saying other things, about, what conservatives believe. And they gave me the opportunity to say it. In this case, it's a little disappointing because, as you mentioned, what I said was not at all disparaging toward Native Americans. What I was talking about is the founding of the United States of America, and that Native Americans did not have a role in the founding of our country. Now,
well, no, you said culture. You said that our culture hasn't evolved much, that it was puritanical to begin with, well, religious, Judeo-Christian based, and that there's really no Native American culture in today's culture, American culture.
You can say that's
I should tell that to my brother and sister, both of whom are Native Americans and also American.
Bad thing or a good thing, or the way we treated Native Americans are bad, but I was giving it.
It was not a good thing. I guarantee you do not say that it was a good thing.
Talk to a group of young.
Oh, you could say it was a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, slavery, you could say good, bad. I mean, who knows? Let's not argue about who killed who.
People talking about the founding principles of religious liberty and how important it was to the immigrants who came here to found this country, and that was an important value that was imbued.
And how many of them were saved by Native Americans because they almost starved to death because they couldn't figure out what to do with their land, and the winter came and wiped them out. And the Native Americans, in many cases, helped. So without them, they don't have their culture.
Into our Constitution. So one of the things I'm concerned about is that you get savaged by telling the truth, and
Well, that wasn't the truth. That's the problem.
I told the truth here, and
you didn't.
You have other people who believe. Don Lemon came on right after my interview and said that Native Americans founded the United States of America, and
well, yeah, they were here first. That's part of the Native and American see that? You could say the British founded it. You could say the Spanish founded it. You could say, but Who wrote the Constitution? The forefathers, after they completely screwed up the founding of the country. They did. The founding fathers were a complete failure when they founded this country. That part of the country is gone now. We don't even talk about our first 9 presidents. We don't. But that's how America was founded. It was a complete failure. You want to talk about culture?
Again, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to the facts, and that's where I think we've gotten.
Oh no, go tell us, please. Explain the facts again.
Off kilter here a little bit in America.
Well, let me.
So, the facts are, he's saying that Native Americans did not found the United States of America. That is a fact. That is a fact. They did not, in fact, found this particular country where they had lived for millennia. They did have nations.
Let me read exactly what you say. When you said you misspoke, and you said it repeatedly again and again, I noticed. I read the transcript, and then you went on to say.
Yeah, I said.
But
he's saying that he's correct.
Native Americans. I said Native Americans weren't Native American.
This is good. He's really got it down now. Native American is not. It's just gonna. Why don't you? If I could just. Why? Look, come here. Would you please? I just don't like the Native guys. I just want to say that's. But it could. So it's obvious, Sean. I spoke the truth.
I said Native Americans. I said Native Americans didn't affect American culture. And I meant the American founding. That's what we were talking about. The whole speech was on the founding.
Well, no.
He was even better than I was.
What you said is no. I was.
Okay, now Sean is correcting him. Sean is stepping in. No. What you said was. I'm just going to play this on repeat permanently.
And then you went on to say.
Yeah, I said Native Americans. I said Native Americans didn't affect American culture. And I meant the American founding. That's what we were talking about. The whole speech was on the founding.
Well, no. What you said is You're right. You said they have had a huge impact. These are your words,
right?
Particularly in the West and many other areas of our country, where they have had a huge impact on American culture, the opposite of what they were claiming you said. And
why don't you show that, Sean?
You said you misspoke. Yeah. And
Oh, okay, so this is during his apology. But the trouble is, he said it at the time.
Misspoke in this respect. You apologized for it.
Right.
And now it raises the question, in my mind, about this is now the society we live in. I don't believe in boycott, Senator. I never.
President Biden calls a Secretary of Defense a former general, and that's a danger to the country, to the world. But he misspoke. He said he misspoke, so it's okay. It's okay.
Supported one, I never will. I don't want Bill Maher fired. As a matter of fact, I defended him.
You want Fauci fired?
Didn't want him fired from ABC at the time. And when Joy Reid was in trouble, I was called by an NBC executive, said, your public comments played a big role in us being able to keep her,
really?
Meaning her job. She wrote me a nice note. I didn't call. I said people can make mistakes and move on, but not anymore.
No, really? Because didn't you just show Brian Williams from 50 years ago talking about a helicopter? Yeah, people can make mistakes and move on. Why should we hold people accountable for what they say? Let's roll the clip of Brian Williams. Let's go to the videotape.
Anymore. Now it's, if you say something, you can't even revise and extend your remarks, apologize, explain in more detail what you meant.
What about Hillary Clinton? They were throwing rocks at her getting out of the Zodiac boat. What about that, Sean? That was a lie.
Wants to hear it. And I'm sick of it, to be honest.
Me too.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, Sean. And many.
Do you know what you're agreeing to here, Rick?
cases throughout my entire career. People have been called to be fired for saying this and fired for saying this, and I've always defended their right and say, look, people have a right to their opinion, and by the way, CNN has a right to fire me if they don't like what I'm saying or what I'm doing. They have a right to fire me. I have no animus at all towards CNN. Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity they gave me, but I think it does show that the left.
Here's the Chiron. CNN finds more and more ways to destroy its credibility. Well, Rick Santorum is saying, no, they've got every right to do what they did. And I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me. I don't think the Chiron guy watches.
Is intolerant. They're worried, I'm sure, that their viewership, which is obviously very left, they were going to pay a price. And the intolerance of the left is really the issue here, and the cancel culture that is flowing from it. And I hear from a lot of liberals, in fact, many CNN contributors who talked to me afterwards, who are very, very concerned about the cancel culture that's now hitting them at CNN.
Well, there's like Kayleigh McEnany, and then Jeff Lord's fired, and you're fired. They really don't want conservatives.
So the Nazi guy. We're going to go to the Nazi guy.
Conservative views there. Now, I could say, and I can name names here.
Yeah, the CNN still has conservatives. They come and they go, okay?
There are plenty of people on this channel I disagree with completely. They don't even particularly like my opinion. We really have a diversity of views, which is, I think, the right way to do it. And my question is, were you given any reason for the firing? Did Jeff Zucker, did he talk to you about it?
What I do know is that, as I said
you're
before,
ducking that
there
question.
were several
Did you talk to Jeff Zucker?
I didn't know.
Why would he talk to the president of the network? He's a contributor. Why would Jeff Zucker call him? This is why you have an HR department.
I've not talked to Jeff. And
okay, why would you? I got fired from the post office, but President Biden never told me why. All right, kids. I think that's enough for today. That was a lot. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I'm not even going to ask you to support the broadcast because, quite frankly, can you guys see the sweat? Yeah, you probably can. It's hot in here, and I'm going to end the broadcast. And we'll probably broadcast tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And I'm worried about the country because Joe Biden he said .gum. We're all in danger. Putin's watching that. The hysteria. This is all they've got. Right now, we're in good shape. Coronavirus numbers are doing amazingly compared to where they were. Go get yourself vaccinated if you're not already vaccinated. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Eat a salad. Shop at a grocery store that hasn't doubled its prices, because apparently that's happening somewhere. And good luck in the gas lines, everyone. Fight the good fight. We'll see you guys later.